Our Parsha this week is a powerful description of how the family of Israel, Jacob's sons, became divided among each other and how Joseph helps bring them back together. We know that the initial division between Joseph and his brothers happened through jealousy. The brothers had a huge resentment of Jacob's favoritism and his special love for his wife Rachel over Leah and her son Joseph. And in our Parsha this week, 22 years later from the day that the brothers threw Joseph in the pit and Jacob believed he was dead, Judah and his siblings must overcome their bitterness and accept their father Jacob as he is, with his undeniable favoritism. In seeing Jacob's special love for Joseph, they were not able to honor this love in Jacob because they believed that his love eclipsed his love for each of them. It's difficult to be open to another person that we care about if we don't believe that they truly see us, if we feel judgment, or if we don't believe that they have our best interest at heart. After 22 years, the brothers assume that Joseph is dead and they have to deal with their father's grief. Joseph and his brother approach this ruler of Egypt, Safat Paneach, which is really Joseph in disguise, in order to bring back food for their family during the famine. Joseph tests his brothers. He wants to see whether they truly love his father for who he is and what he loves, or whether they're just out for their own interests. He locks up their brother Benjamin, who is Jacob's youngest son, and Joseph's full brother, to see if Judah and his brothers will show the same disregard for Benjamin, Rachel's other son, that they did for him. And to show his growth over the years, then, Judah speaks up to this Joseph in disguise ruler to defend his brother Benjamin, saying, "How can I come back to my father without the boy? His soul is tied to his. I will have to witness the horror that befell my father." And it's at that moment that Joseph reveals himself to his brothers and the healing and forgiveness begins. The brothers need to have their father on their own terms. That need nearly destroyed him. Their attempt to wean him of his special commitments led not closer to relationship, but to estrangement from him and his values. Each of them wanted their father to fit their image of who they wanted him to be, and so they were not able to love him for who he actually was. We all do this. We want our family members, our fellow Jews, our fellow humans to see things our way. And much of our drive for this is not only our own beliefs in what is right and good, but a desire for those around us to see who we are, our goodness, and how we care. Unfortunately, many of us have come to believe that those with different political positions don't share the same values that we do, and that perception extends to the belief that others don't really care about us and value us for who we are. Last week, I attended an online training with an organization called One America. That was a training on examining the science of polarization and what we can do about it. And One America works with many research-based organizations to help learn how Americans understand each other. And they partnered with this global research firm called YouGov to survey 2,100 Americans. And on issues including climate change, patriotism, sexual assault, police conduct, and more, they asked Americans what they themselves believed and what they estimated people on the other side believed. And then they were able to calculate the difference between the predictions and reality. And the conclusion was that Americans have a deeply distorted understanding of each other. Overall, Democrats and Republicans imagine almost twice as many of their political opponents than what is reality, hold views that they consider extreme. We believe that members of the other party dehumanize us more than twice the amount that they actually do. And we overestimate how much the other members of the other party dislike us. What these organizations, More in Common and Beyond Conflict, actually found was that even on the most controversial issues in our national debates, Americans are less divided than most of us think. And for those of us who attended in the past years the Can We Talk sessions, Building Relationships Through Disagreement, we also discovered the same thing. We share more in common than what we think. This perception of others causes us to avoid dialogue with one another and to distance ourselves from each other. And when we do have opportunities to talk, it usually doesn't go well because our perception of how others see us and our belief about who they are and what they value keep us from really listening and understanding the other and sharing what's important to us beyond barraging another with a litany of facts. I believe so strongly that in order to achieve the strategic and visionary goal of our synagogue to build meaningful relationships with one another, we need to better understand why we're divided from one another, and then cultivate the skills and orientations to truly dialogue around areas that we have disagreement. It's this ability to dialogue, understand, and appreciate our differences that will allow our goal for meaningful relationships to not just be nice words, but translate into a living reality. Please stay tuned for another installment of Can We Talk sessions that we'll be doing this coming May. I'll be working with this organization, One America, to design these sessions to create truly meaningful dialogue spaces. I believe that it was Joseph and his brothers' recognition of the true care that they had for each other beyond all the pain and disconnection that allowed the healing to begin and the relationships to repair. In this week's Parsha, both Judah and Joseph take immense risks with one another by showing each other their own vulnerability and love like never before. This is what's on the line for each of us. And this is what is needed for our sacred community.